I want to go through an agreed upon procedures report, or the AUP reports, just so that you guys can understand how these are laid out and specifically what each category truly means. So I've been requesting a lot of these from schools. Just so happens I have the University of Maine up right now. Never been there, like to go visit it, but let's take a look at their financials. This is for the most, starting from the top. You can always tell the fiscal year that it was in. This ended June 30th, 2019, so it covered all of the 2018, fall 2018, spring 2019. That's the year of athletics. As you go through the report, there's a lot of different verbiage up here to read through it. I highly encourage you to read through it. You might learn a lot of information as you go through. So the contributions, received a gift of $528,000. So different ways to see exactly what happened, what the notes say about the numbers that follow. Spirit groups is another. Their expense increased by 2,000%. How's that happen? No idea. Yeah. So let's get down to the fun stuff. Down here to the actual table of finances, or their income statement, as you might say. As we get down, it's usually one of the last pages. Through all the notes. And we get to this statement of revenues and expenses. Now, starting first is ticket sales. Self-explanatory. That's all money that's generated from ticket sales for a sport. So there's that. Direct state or governmental support. That's all money that's given directly to the university to be used for athletics. As you see here, the state is giving $78,000 to them, however that may happen. I've seen other schools that get $7 million. So it just depends on things. Student fees. Doesn't look like Maine charges any student fees. So there you go if you're looking to transfer. Direct institutional support is the amount of money, this is cash that's given from the university to athletics. So if we're going to look at, hey, how self-sustaining is a department? What do they have? Direct institutional support is that. So this is the board of trustees for the university, the president, who are going to be allocating the budget that the university is giving $13.3 million to support athletics. Indirect institutional support is really more of an accounting category, so don't worry about that one. Guarantees, as far as revenue goes, is the amount of money that's being earned by athletics for going to play other places and make money. So in this case, let's say Maine went and played Boston College in football. They might have got $700,000 to do that. Contributions, you'll see here, amount of money that comes in. Now, what contributions usually comes out of, one, donations, but if you think about this and how they raise their money, when you buy season tickets, sometimes, or most schools will make you pay a certain amount at Coastal. My wife and I used to be season ticket holders. For each ticket, it was about $150. Of that, $50 was the actual cost of the ticket, and $100 was the contribution to the Chanticleer Athletic Foundation. That counts as a contribution. You'll also see in kind, third-party support. That is, let's say, Panera Bread donates food every Tuesday to the team. There's a gift in kind, or Chick-fil-A donates meals, or something along those lines. Then you get down here to media rights. So how much money are they making from media deals? How's that coming for the conference? NCAA distributions. You see it here for football. Maine made the FCS playoffs, so you get a distribution from the NCAA. There's that. Conference distributions that are affiliated bowls, so this is amount of money being divvied out to them through some other realm the conference collected. That'll get shared. Program novelty parking concession sales. Think of this as a revenue category associated with your game production. So it's actually literally selling game programs, novelties, which means stuffed animals, other things, parking that comes in, all the aspects, royalties, licensing, advertisement. The next category, how much am I making off my logo? How's that play into it? Sport camp revenues, self-explanatory. How much am I making from the camps that generate on my property? Restricted endowment investment income. If we think back to how much money sometimes is donated to the university or donated to the athletics. So I think problem things that happen to athletics, let's say Josh Norman donating money, that money might come in, and then every year that sits in an endowment that spends off money that you're able to use without spending the principal. So you're spending the interest that's accumulated. So you see that. Other operating revenue, bowl revenue occurs. Let's get down to expenses. Off the top, athletic student aid, these are scholarships. Can't really touch scholarships, so they're tied in. Guarantees, how much am I paying others to come and play me? You have coaches' salaries, self-explanatory. If you sometimes just see some of this other one, coaches paid by a third party. The third party element comes in if, let's say, a car dealer coach gets $15,000 in car usage of a year. So that technically counts as compensation for that coach. So that has to be included some way. But the one thing to remember, that coach, whether the car dealership is giving them that, or let's say a country club membership, that might cost $10,000. The university is still guaranteeing that for him. So the university is still on the hook to pay that if the third party doesn't pay it. Same thing for support staff. Comes down this way. Severance payments. I fire somebody, I still have to pay them because let's say the contract might not be up for another 2 years. I still got to pay them. Recruiting, student athlete recruiting. Team travel, which also includes athlete meals while on the road. Sports equipment, uniforms, and supplies. How much am I spending on my uniforms and supplies, and what do I need? That could be, you need new basketballs, you need everything else. There you go. Game expenses. What are my overall game expenses for putting on these games? We'll talk a little more about that in a second. Fundraising, marketing, promotions. How much am I spending on that category? Sports camp expenses. If I'm making revenue, I got to be spending something usually. At the top, spirit groups. You just saw their cost went up 2,000% in this one. Facilities and debt service. This is essentially your loan payment for the year on your debt. Direct overhead and administrative expenses. Let's say something breaks inside your athletic facility. You are going to have the university maintenance people come out and fix it. They're not doing that for free. They bill you for their time and supplies for what they needed to fix whatever was broken. It is cheaper than calling out a plumber or somebody else to fix that from the outside. But that's just the way that accounting is handled at universities. You can indirect institutional support, overlook that. Memberships and dues. So we have some memberships, so conference memberships, coaches memberships. Stuff has to be paid. Student athlete meals, non-travel. So the NCAA permitted that you could provide meals to your student athletes. You have to account for that some way to make sure that you're not overspending it. Other operating expenses that come through, pretty there, and then bill expenses. Now, the one thing I do want to point out, some schools, when they do their accounting, go back up here at top, you have football, men's basketball, women's basketball, other sports, which includes all of your other sports, and then non-program specific. So what a lot of schools sometimes will do is not put all of the game expenses over here for, let's say, football. I looked at 2 schools that were in the Sun Belt. One puts all the true game expenses to put on a game. Costs about $110,000 to put on a game at that school. Another Sun Belt school, a comparable size, stadium, everything, and success, says it only costs them $2,000. And it doesn't seem right, but over here, and non-program specific was a whole lot higher. So think through that of how they're doing it. If you could even back that out and say, well, this is kind of more industry standard, how much it might cost, something to look at. If there's any questions on AUP reports, please let me know. I just want to give you a little more guidance on what these categories truly mean.